Well, the indicator says we are live.
Live,
We are live. All
not
right.
Memorex.
Are you ready to go?
You know what? I am almost ready to go.
Okay.
I've just got to
Remember,
swap over my session from what we had last week. Yes.
Got to go to the blue snowball.
Blue snowball. Okay. I'm ready when you are.
All right. All right, let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the RetroMacCast with James and John. This is episode 533 for July 12th, 2020. Good morning, John.
Good morning, James.
How are you?
I am quite well. We were just discussing pruning and loss of internet.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if the show was going to go today. My wife was out doing some yard maintenance and had the shears running, the electric pruner. And apparently they ran our cable right through our hedges, like at ankle length. And so she chopped right through it. Anyway, I was able to get it patched
crazy
up.
way. That is a crazy
way. Yeah,
place
it wasn't. It wasn't buried properly at all. That's for sure. But I'm back up and running. We're good to go. You have a little show and tell for us today?
Yeah. It's because we're gonna miss Kansas Fest. We're gonna do the virtual Kansas Fest. I thought maybe we'd take a slight detour from Mac stuff and talk about an Apple II related item.
Okay.
You can see I'm wearing a Kansas Fest shirt today from Kansas Fest 2019, which of course I also did not get to go to because of health reasons.
Right.
But yeah.
And oddly enough, you can't go this year because of health reasons.
Much more broad health reasons. Yes. Everyone's yes.
We'll get to that a bit later. We did have a number of new members. Now, when you join the Facebook group, it asks you a couple questions. Those are to weed out people that spam. Yeah. And it also is to tell us about yourself, but then once we accept you, we don't have access to those answers.
Never
anymore.
Get to see them again.
So for a while I was like screenshotting or writing it down every time, and that became a little laborious because I wanted to accept people right away and not wait until today. But we had a rash of new members, and it was like, because I was never in the right spot to do it, to write it down.
And you don't want to leave them hanging.
No. Because then they think, what is it about me? And they get real self-conscious. I don't want that.
Well, you have to, once we complete our background checks, financial statuses, that sort of thing, it takes a while.
So I just started accepting them just as they poured in. So I don't have the answers, but to the answers to the questions, but I do have the names. And so I'm going to roll off the names here.
Sure thing.
Or do you want to alternate?
Oh, let's alternate. Why not?
All right. I'll start at the top with Paco Moliner.
All right. Now, next up is... Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say if I had any information about Paco, but I don't. So keep going.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have Eric Lim.
Okay. And Cam Marshall.
We have Josh Denton.
Gary Schrout.
Matthew Halstead.
And Paul Levy. So welcome
everyone.
I would imagine some of those came to us via Mac 84.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun last week.
All right. Well, let's see. We're going to have some eBay finds coming up. Then John's going to share with us a new piece of equipment that he's been playing with. And we've got a little bit of news, so we'll be right back.
So is there... Nobody in the chat room.
Probably not yet. See if
one thing we need to mention is I don't think we've actually been mentioning during the show when we're doing this live recording.
I think we have. I mean, we haven't been really
pushing
good about doing it. Yeah,
right.
I'm sure we've done it at least once.
Well,
I think we've mentioned it. I think we mentioned the channel.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
Yeah. And if you go to the channel, you'll see the placeholder.
Yes.
because I try to schedule it a week out. All right, let's see. You got the eBay finds?
I got the eBay finds. Am I doing the bag?
Yeah, it's your bag, baby.
All right.
All right, let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time now for eBay finds. Let's see how those auctions did last week. The deck of cards. Now, this is unsealed, the deck of cards featuring all the cool illustrations of Macintosh logos. That one, still 0 bids. Starting bid of $130. We're buy it now of $220. The vintage recapped Macintosh SE30. I guess I can throw these up here for everybody to look at if anybody's there. The one that's equipped with the SCSI to SD, that one, after 46 bids, went for $465. Very nice. And the Molder Mac, the G3 all-in-one, upgraded with the G4 and USB and FireWire, after 26 bids, sold for $556. All right.
Speaking of,
yes.
I think we also ran across somebody that was selling an 040 upgrade card for the SE30. When we looked at that last week, it was like about $35. It ended up going for around $500.
Oh my!
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's a couple of things that people don't do or use. At least most people. Do people breakdance anymore? It's kind of gone by the wayside. And do they use iPods? And do they use iPods while breakdancing? Apple
at the best of times, that didn't seem very safe, right?
Yeah, especially that cord. It probably makes more sense now with AirPods.
AirPods, sure.
Although maybe they wouldn't stay in your head if you're spinning around on the ground. The centrifugal force would
just inconveniencing passerbys.
Right. These posters, I think, are going to be pretty collectible. Especially these bright colored ones here.
Yeah.
They had these great silhouette ads years ago when the iPod was new and fresh, and breakdancing was still a thing. So I saw these posters, these promotional posters with the really beautiful backgrounds. This was sort of a hybrid, right? The original generation just had like a single color,
sure.
Yeah, and just the silhouette. These ones have a little more texture to the background.
Yeah.
And variation color, and then there's some finer details in the silhouette. But I saw this one. There's a couple of them out there, but this one, starting bid of 99 cents. 0 bids right now. These posters, let's see, what do they say about them? Just a promotional poster, had about 15 years. That little rough edges, but it's 3 by 2 feet. And I mean, wouldn't that be glorious on someone's
Absolutely,
wall?
Yeah. Again, just this kind of gorgeous splash of orange.
And notice this one.
Really nice.
Yeah, this one actually has some thickness to it. It's actually on a board of some sort.
Which I would think would. Do you think they came that way to the stores? I'm guessing maybe somebody had this one mounted, perhaps.
I think they were probably like this at the stores.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know why anybody would go through the trouble of mounting it, but the question is in shipping this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're gonna have to put this in
something that's not going to get folded, spindled, or mutilated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. What do you got?
All right. Next up, Papa's got a brand old bag. It's a gym bag. And it's www.apple.com. Now, the graphic that's on here, do you have any clue?
I was trying to remember.
It looks like a surfboard. I can see he's holding, it's very, very stylized. Almost Picasso-ish in a way, but a little bit more detail. Looks like he's holding an iPod. He's got a surfboard with a little red Apple logo on it. It's
It
it's
looks
a
like an
very
iPod.
unusual style.
I don't know. I think is this pre iPod though? Is that just like a Walkman, or is that really an iPod? I don't know. It reminds me of the graphics that were used when they were thinking about rolling out the Apple Cafe. There was this
Hmm.
idea. This is pre Apple Store, where it was actually a lounge or whatever. There was going to be this whole plan for that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I can't exactly place it. Does the description say anything about the time
No, it's just
it was made
a
or anything?
vintage Apple computer duffel bag.
Hmm.
First purchased in the '90s. So yeah, you're right. It's not going to be an iPod
Yeah.
or an iPhone. Yeah, yeah.
Real
One
nice.
owner, an ex Apple employee, very
Uh-huh.
gently used. So it does look in nice shape. It looks like it's probably kind of a nylon gym bag, and not a lot else to say. It's just very odd.
Uh-huh. It's
Yeah.
interesting that you zoom in there and it does this, even though this is pre iPod. That sure looks like an iPod, doesn't it?
Right, right. Because of the, especially because of the white cord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a white case.
Right.
Look at that thing. Yeah. So what do they want for this?
Sorry. Right now this has zero bids, starting bid of $55, but there's also a make an offer.
Okay. All right. Now, I don't know if you've been following this podcast. I'm a fan of the Porsche race car that Apple sponsored many years ago, back in the 80s. Because the car was decked out with some nice 6-color Apple stripes and Mater Tectura font. And there have been a number of models. There's the original diecast model, which is pretty collectible, and then there's been variants of kits and things, and then this one popped up. I think these are fairly new. This is the 164 scale, or I'm sorry, 118 scale,
Yeah, this is going to be a
which
pretty good sized model, isn't it?
yeah, I think there are I want to say just under 2,000 of these made. You can also buy these. I think there's a 64th scale, like a little, almost like a matchbox sized
Huh.
version as well. Um, and the detail is quite something. Look at the pictures here.
Yeah, so that was one thing I'm looking at these pictures and I'm like, wow, this is a really nicely photographed model car. And then I look at the seller, and the seller is not an Apple, somebody who sells Apple stuff. They sell model cars. RKS
Now,
Model Car Garage. If you look at the other things that they sell, it's model cars, and so
right,
obviously somebody who pays attention to making it look almost like a showroom actual car photo. I
right.
love the mirror on the bottom. I mean, these are some really nice looking pictures. And
And
you're right. The detail on this vehicle
yeah,
is crazy.
um, handmade, beautifully detailed. Now this is interesting because it's not the same Porsche as before. Okay, the original was this 935 K3, and it has its history, but this RWB did a reproduction of it um, on the basis of a 964 Porsche. So it's some kind of weird hybrid. I don't know. I have to probably go back and do some more studying on the history of this version. But so I'm not clear that this. So this it's another Apple car essentially that draws inspiration from that original one that all the historic models were made out of. But go search if you search in eBay under Apple RWB, you can find lots of sellers of this particular Porsche in different scales.
Wow. I mean,
So
I'm looking at the picture of the interior,
mhm.
and it's just
Yeah,
it's just
I didn't even see
wow.
the picture of the
Yeah,
interior.
go to the last one where it's coming in through a
Okay.
side window.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at
Yeah.
that seat.
Especially
It looks like it's a real upholstered seat. Uh, wow.
right.
Just wow.
Well, I went ahead and ordered one for myself to add because, of course, in the new Maca that's under construction. I'll have the ability to have an individual display for these cars.
Well, there's only one more left of these.
Well, there's a number of different sellers. They were spread out through a bunch of retailers. So yeah, search on RWB Porsche 911. Oh, did I say buy it now? $199.99. And there's some variation among the different sellers.
Interesting.
Whether shipping's included or not.
Right.
This particular one ships from New York, but yeah, this was the same vendor from which I purchased mine. Though I haven't got it yet, so maybe I'll share it with it in a future episode and kind of and kind of compare and contrast. Actually, that'd be a good idea. Compare and contrast with the original model, and maybe actually figure out the story behind the new one.
Yeah.
All right. Was that the last item?
I think that's
the last item. Cloud says, "Hi guys."
Good morning. Good morning.
And Brian says, "I think I missed the episodes where you guys originally mentioned you were doing this. Mac 84's announcement is when I found out you guys had a channel." Yes.
Yeah. So I think we'll just have to make sure on the closing out of this.
We've had a channel since the late 80s. We just never did anything with it. No, it was YouTube in the 80s. Actually, since the early 2000s, or whenever YouTube came out. All right. So, John, you're up.
All right. Yeah. All right. So let's just
we got to
see if we
get it kind of down. Oh, we're not recording yet.
Not yet. Yep.
Yeah.
I want to just check on this, see if we can. Let's see here. I bump down that's actually kind of visible. Ooh, let's go on a trip. Okay, I think that'll kind of work, right? As I kind of talk about it, we can show it on the screen a little bit.
A little bit.
Is that strobe too much?
We're getting a little bit of a strobe.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll spend a few moments looking at it just so they can see that you actually did it, and then we'll just go back to us talking about it. But
okay, that sounds good.
That's much better.
Yeah, with me not moving it around properly.
You're shaking it around like you're angry at it.
Yeah, freaking Apple II's rare.
All right, you ready to start?
Yeah, I'm ready. As ready as I'm going to be.
Let's go in. Let's see. Let me find a reference here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. In today's segment, we're going to do a little Apple II flavor. I know this is the MacCast.
Now,
John's got his shirt. Yeah.
Yes. Kansas
we can see a piece of it.
Yeah. All right. So
what do you got?
First of all, this is my Apple II GS that I bought new back in the 90s.
I don't see it. I just see the monitor.
Oh, okay.
It's there. It is.
The 2GS right here. I got the cover off right now. So there's been several different versions of either hard drive or floppy emulation out there. The CFFA is one of the older, more popular ones. Very, very pricey though. So I think about a year ago or so, a guy named and if I say the name wrong, I'm sorry. David, it's either David Mutimer or David Mutimer, Australian, came up with a card called the Booty, BOOTI, BOOTI, yeah, and $50, and it is a hard drive emulator, so it does take up one of the slots. So I've got mine in slot 7, right there. Now, one of the cool things is right here you can see the CFFA, which runs off of a compact flash card, and but it also has regular IDE, so you can hook an IDE drive up to it. So that's kind of the advantages of that. But again, those are getting harder to find and are pretty pricey. The Booty card is right here. It is a wee tiny card, and it's got basically it runs everything off of USB. Pretty nice. And so when you first put it in there. So I have hooked up a USB cable, but yeah, it is so easy. It's got a very nice, easy configuration menu. When you so you can swap out up to, I believe it's up to 7 different devices that can actually be on your desktop.
It says 8 in the description. It says 8 different disk images.
8. Thank you. Yeah, I don't have the documents in front of me right now. So this is your kind of starting control panel that lets you assign. It's here. Over here, you've got it on the left-hand side. You've got a column of everything that's an image that can be used. That's on the USB drive, and then you've got all your slots you can assign it to. Once you're done, it is. You don't have to worry about it after that. It'll boot to whatever you tell it to, and of course, you need to set your 2GS to boot off of, in my case, slot 7. It's ProDOS only, and so it's not going to run your DOS 3.3 stuff because again, it's not really a floppy emulator. Well, what can I say? It's a great bit of kit. $50. It's out of stock right now, unfortunately.
It is out of stock.
Yeah,
but you can subscribe, and they'll tell you when it's back in stock, which I think I shall do.
Yeah. Oh, and it also, I mean, it works to me. It works great on the 2GS. It's the 32 meg size images, so it they hold a lot, and yeah, but it will also work on your older Apple IIs as well.
Yeah. If you go to ct6502.org, you can see some photos of it, and then you can there's also a video there. Right?
Oh yeah, so and Chris Torrance does a there we go. That's the Chris Torrance video. He's he was behind Assembly Line's book that came out a couple years ago, and he's got a lot of really good YouTube videos.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. So pretty easy to get it all up and running.
It comes in 2 pieces. You've got the main card that plugs in, and you've got a daughter card that's got the USB slot on it. So setup time was 30 seconds.
Nice.
And of course, the other thing is, since it uses just regular the disk images, if you want, you can set up your disk image using like Sweet 16 or GS Plus, a 2GS emulator. Okay. Get it all set up the way you like before popping it into the onto a real 2GS. Makes it so easy. And
do you notice much of a speed increase? So you're pretty much limited by the motherboard at this point,
right? Yeah. There's USB versus the compact flash or even a regular IDE. Yeah, your bottleneck's going to be just the bus speed.
Yeah.
So
but you're not waiting for
a drive to spin up,
a floppy drive or something like
exactly.
That. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. That's a great little piece of equipment.
Absolutely.
Well, cool. All right. Well, yeah, that's always a great thing we're benefiting from these days is hobbyists getting out there, having the tools to make custom hardware like this to keep our old Macs, and in this case, Apple IIs running. So again, that's ct6502.org. That's the Apple II Booty USB hard drive emulator card. Brian says, I'm lucky my 2GS came with a Vulkan drive and controller.
Yeah, I actually found a 2GS at Goodwill that had the Vulkan drive in it, but no controller card, that I ended up taking to Kansas Fest and giving to a guy who he refurbished those. So I think I traded some stuff to him for it. But man, I remember back in the day, all the AE stuff, all the applied engineering stuff, so expensive and so cool for the 2GS.
All right, we're going over to news,
which I need to bring up.
All right, give me a second.
Did you run across that link I showed you of the guy who did the SC30 LCD display, but then he also threw in an actual Macintosh motherboard?
Where'd you send that to me?
I messaged it to you maybe a week or so ago.
Be more specific. Like text or
text.
or
Text. Yes, text.
Text.
On the
I don't
messages.
Oh, okay. Let me go. Let me go look.
Oh, just maybe something.
Oh, here we go. Must see. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at
that. I mean, it's he basically turned an SC30 case into a color classic with an LCD screen, but it's with an 040 processor board. But it's
Billy the Kid.
Yeah. Pretty impressive stuff.
We can throw that into the news. I'll add that to the end. Put that at the end.
All right.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready to go.
I'm all set. I'm ready.
Okay. Ready. Let's go in 4, 3, 2, 1. It's time for the news. Well, people are still actively developing for Macintosh 2. Can you believe that? But not with the Mac OS. For Linux, apparently there's an active Linux group out there. I didn't know for the Mac 2. And so over on Phoronix.com, there was a little article about the Linux kernel being modified. Give updates for the ADB driver support in the Linux kernel. And they issued 9 different patches. So there you go. If you're worried, if you're having all kinds of bugs with your mouse or whatever, they're making repairs. Apparently, there's also, according to this article, there's also PowerBook 100 series Linux improvements that had come out too by a developer. So interesting stuff. I'm sure
it's pretty cool.
There's got to be a website someplace where all that's going on. Which I could probably click through here. Looks like over at lore.kernel.org. Links over to where that is anyway. And then over on Reddit, I saw this picture posted by Swamp Monkey 666 of a whole bunch of gear.
Wow.
There's a story behind this. Scroll down a little bit here. The owner was in the electronics business in the late 60s and 70s, had a big repair and sales company in New Zealand, and then decided to turn it into an e-waste biz. I guess that's what happened when you have a lot of unsold inventory. There was some movement around, and there was a fire. There was a lot of stuff saved. And anyway, fast forward to today, and they're trying to sell everything off, I guess, parted out. And so this weekend in New Zealand, I think we probably missed it by now. They're selling this stuff off, at least the best they can. And
wow.
So they even set up a web page or a Reddit group called Mega Vintage Sale. And you can scroll
do you see
through
the boxes in the center of the clamshell iMacs?
Yeah,
you can't even. I didn't even know what they were at first because they're stacked on end. All you can see are like these rows of oranges, rows of blues, one lime,
and a lot of pre-iBooks, a lot of PowerBook 100 series.
Yeah,
and
a lot of Apple II stuff, right?
It's like 10 to 1 Apple to other stuff.
Oh my goodness!
So there is a lot of. If you look around this picture here, let's see.
This almost reminds me of when I was going to the school sales. This is kind of how stuff would be laid out. And you just had to kind of dig through boxes and find bits and pieces.
A stack of message pads there. A lot of Apple IIs and Quadras, and it's just a treasure trove of stuff. It'd be fun to go through. So There
There's going to be
are,
some happy people in New Zealand this weekend. That is for sure.
yeah. Well, speaking of one, there's one right there. Guy hauling off a cart of Apple II stuff.
Big old smile in this
But
face.
yeah,
Yes.
you can see they opened up this giant warehouse and
Oh man.
set up some tables, and just people are going through and picking out what they want. So, yeah, a fun time. Maybe somebody listening to our show actually attended.
Ooh.
Give us a report. That
would
be
be awesome. Yeah.
I think we have some listeners in New Zealand. I don't know, but yeah, really cool stuff. Okay, and John, you stumbled across this video. This was from back in February. The YouTube channel's Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
What did Billy the Kid do?
All right. So we've seen where people have put LCD screens in compact Mac cases, and then threw like a Mac Mini or something like that into it. I mean, I've done that myself. What this guy did, he took a Macintosh SE30, and he put an LCD screen in and put a Raspberry Pi in. I mean, you're like, okay, great, another one of those. Except that he also put a Quadra 605 motherboard in it, which fit into the regular cage for the SE30 motherboard. And then he made everything internal. He unsoldered the video connector and rewired it for VGA, and the floppy works and everything works. So it's a straight up Macintosh with an LCD screen inside an SE30 case, as well as having a Raspberry Pi in there. Really, nice. really cool. Now, the way he did it, though, is he's got basically a toggle switch on the back that toggles up for one of them or toggles down for the other. Personally, what I would have done is just had to power both and then have a KVM switch hidden in there. So you could just KVM between the two. But that's a pretty cool bit of hackery, I have to say.
Yeah. Nice. Well done. And
definitely worth checking out the video, because he goes into a lot of great detail, and good stuff.
Right. All right. Yeah, why can't these kinds of sales happen every day around me? Yeah,
right.
That'd be fun.
Oh, yeah, we need more.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go in there. I'm not sure there's anything I need at this point.
But I would love to browse. I mean, just I could definitely use a couple more Macintosh monitors, tube monitors.
Yeah, that aren't collapsing on their own weight.
Yes. Oh man, it's so sad.
Plastics.
Yeah. We're starting to get problems with the insides of iMacs. The old original iMacs. The internal plastic
really
is starting to get brittle.
Even ones that have been stored inside, you think?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yep. Just so whatever the plastic composition is.
Well, what we really need, and I don't know, I'm sure we've talked about this before, and maybe this exists, the idea of there were some standard sized CR keys over the years, right? Fairly common. There was a 14, there was a 15. And
sure.
Well, especially if you look at Mac monitors, they're fairly standard. And the idea of having LCD retrofits with built-in converters to the Apple connector or to VGA or whatever, so you can remove and replace. It doesn't do anything for the plastics, but at least the
less weight
circuitry. Yeah, and reliability and that kind of thing, and the ability to do probably more resolutions. All right, let's see. Was that it?
Yes, that was.
All right, we're going to close out. Then I'm going to.
So you if you get your car next week, you want to do that. If not,
sure.
I have perhaps another. I'm going to be putting a solid state SATA drive into a Lime iMac.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, if you get that
replacing the IDE drive in there with a solid state.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what comes to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to share this picture in the outro here.
Oh, fantastic.
Because I'll tell the story. We get into it, okay?
All right.
All right, you ready?
I am ready.
Let's go in 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I guess it was a number of episodes back when I was talking about that Blue Dalmatian that I got. Remember the interesting eBay story where the woman who was selling it modeled the Blue Dalmatian iMac topless, but she was
Right.
holding. Well, I did find that photo. Maybe I'll share it with you privately, but I didn't want to share it here. I'm not sure it's her intention to stream that live potentially to billions of people on the planet. So I will not show it. And I found the photo of me posing with it in a response that I sent back to her. And I decided maybe I don't want to show that because you never know how that's going to come back to haunt you. You know, I'd love to show it to just the 3 people in our chat room, and then never to be seen again. But you just can't do that, right?
Right.
But I did find this other photo from that same era of my collection, and it shows. Here, let me zoom in for the YouTube audience here. It does show the Blue Dalmatian iMac, which I still have. It's to my upper right here in my office. But this is from that era when I picked it up because I was going for the Flower Power, which is to its right. And, you know, of course, at this point in time, I had them both set up and you could operate them from the couch there. But it was kind of cool to see what was going on in my office.
So the G4 iMac, was that your latest greatest system? Was that your daily runner at the time then, huh?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. And you can see the graphite iBook is my primary laptop. Nice. So and this display off to the right here was connected to my Beige G3, which I was still running fairly regularly. And I'm not sure. I don't know. This was probably very new in the G4 iMac, you know, before I'd fully transitioned over, and so I still probably had a lot of stuff on the G3 desktop, which is perched up on top of the desk there, and also above that is a Power Mac 7600, 7500, something like that was connected to this monitor to the left, running, you know, OS 9, and then to the right of that is, of course, just a TV, so I can get my news feed because, you know, back when you couldn't do that through the internet, you had to have a TV.
Oh my goodness!
And you can see all the.
I wish I had more pictures of my setups over the years.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and we've since repainted the room, but at the time we painted the room that Blue Dalmatian blue was, I think, the inspiration for the color of the room.
Oh, very good.
So this was when early 2000s, or mid 2000s, I guess, right? But yeah, it's nice that I have this photo to show snapshot in time. You can see all the Macs littered around there. But all right. So next week we'll do one of a couple things. Maybe I'll get that car will come in. You talk about that, and you've got a project with a Lime iMac.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe we'll talk about that. Make a censored version for a laugh. LOL. Hey, you know what? I could do that.
That would be pretty funny. I also like
the person's face.
I also like Rick's comment of I jump into those piles of old Apple stuff like Uncle Scrooge into his money bin.
That's right.
Yes.
All right. Well, a special bonus for the YouTube live folks. I will edit that photo right now and I will throw it up. Not the one of me, but the one of the person that sold me the iMac. I'll do that. All right. So reminder, we do stream the podcast now live on YouTube Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Central.
Yep. Sorry for all you people to the west of us.
Yeah, and if you come live, you can participate in the chat and interact with us because it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, in between segments we chatted up with folks, and then of course you can always watch it after the fact too, because even though we're streaming it, it is stored for all eternity.
My wife has actually started watching some of these. She has never listened to a single episode unless I make her. Tie her down, just
hey,
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, there it is. So come join us if you can on Sunday mornings. All right. Well, until next week, remember it's not old.
It's retro.
I thought you blanked out on me there for a moment. Okay, we're stopped recording there for the audio podcast.
All right.
I'm going to do a quick edit on this photo. Let's see. What's the easiest way to do that? We'll go here. We'll mark it up. We will draw a box. How about a circle?
Yeah, we watched Hamilton last night.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, I finally managed to get into and chat a little bit on the. There was a Florida Retro Computer Club, but of course, it's down in Southern Florida. So, but because of times being what they are, they started doing virtual meetings via Zoom. So I was able to get in on that a little bit last night, and it's a general retro computer club. So it's the main host is a guy who hosts a Coco podcast.
Oh,
but it was also
everybody was awed by your celebrity. Did you tell them who you were?
Oh yeah. Everyone ran around and introduced themselves. They did ask if this was a picture behind me at first, rather. And it was nice. Javier Rivera, who's the king of retro breading, was on there. He's a great guy that I met at Kansas Fest. So
cool.
Yep.
Brian says he got a flower power recently.
Oh, lucky!
Internal plastics were completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so frustrating.
A week before the external plastics were okay. Interesting. Okay, you ready to see this? So this is the picture of the seller. Let's make sure I throw up the right one. Of course, it's censored here, and voila.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Very tasteful, right? And so just imagine me doing the same thing.
Oh my goodness. So
but
funny.
I actually, well, I don't want to. I mean, I think I actually explained it earlier. I use the iMac to cover the male bits that are more, shall we say, I had a lower on my body. So anyway, isn't that a funny way of selling your computer?
Yeah, no, that is so
Not
funny.
seen that tactic before or since. All right. The CRT almost fell out when I unboxed it. It's amazing how brittle the plastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So sad.
Gosh, I hope the plastics of mine are doing really well. So I'm just sitting there above my desk. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining us out there.
Klaus, Rick, Brian.
Klaus, Rick. Is that it? Anybody else? Anybody sitting out there that hasn't popped in and said hi? Say hi before you leave, because we can't see. There's no like presence in the chat room, right? They're just comments and a feed, right? There's no. We don't see a list, as far as I know.
Of like who's viewing.
Yeah.
If there's any. Yeah.
Anybody?
Bueller.
Simone. Bueller. Nobody else. That's it. Not sure. And Brian, where are you chatting from? He's already left. Okay. Well, you sent me the files.
Mm-hmm.
Get that downloaded.
Yeah, you're going to find the ones a little bit long because I forgot to stop recording. But of course, it should be easy enough for you to see.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, thanks, Klaus, for coming in. I think you've probably been to every episode. This must be a good time for you there in Sweden. Philadelphia.
Philly. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Hopefully things are doing well in Philadelphia. My family is from the Philadelphia area on my father's side. Yeah. All right, John. I think we're done.
All right. Well, I hope everyone has a great week, and hopefully we'll see you in here again next weekend.